Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Supercars of London. This is going to be the quickest intro before jumping into the 2022 i30N with an automatic gearbox. I'm very excited to drive this car, but in that direction over there is the last of the blue sky. The rain is setting in. We've just experienced a monstrous torrential downpour, and I've got a funny feeling we're about to experience another one. Now this is an absolutely miserable day, so you might have to bear with some of the water droplets that may or may not get onto my GoPros, but I'm so excited to drive this car. And once I've finished on the test drive route on the i30N, I get to jump in the i20N, a car that has won so many awards. I'm very, very excited about driving in that. But because this directly competes with my VW Golf GTI, the i30N has been on the tip of my tongue and also the tip of your tongues. I've had so many direct messages, so many comments about I should have bought this car. This is the car you should have bought. I've had people that have cancelled Golf GTI orders to order an i30N. And here we are, about to see whether the auto gearbox makes sense in a car that was so good in manual form. Oh. There is an instant missing piece. Now, having driven i30N on multiple occasions with a manual gearbox, there is something to be said about the right amount of power to put through a manual gearbox, and having three pedals and a left arm that is doing more than downshifting through a paddle. And I wonder and slightly worry that the joy of the i30N is actually in the manual gearbox. What a mentalist! You are, with me, experiencing my absolute first reactions of the i30N, and it is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, the steering is weighted, it feels quite BMW M-esque. The power's there, for sure. It's got the perfect chassis balance that Hyundai have absolutely nailed with the i30N. But having, Jesus Christ, experienced i30N with a manual box and how integrated that is to my brain as memory, I actually think controlling this car through paddles has somewhat stripped the car's soul and character. It's smooth, it's effortless, and less fun. I've been driving around on some country roads now for about half an hour, and whilst we don't have the weather, we definitely don't have the weather. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. What I would like to say is, in the comfort mode on the i30N, you are compromised on the stiffness of the suspension, because when you put it in N performance mode, it is so good. It is a much better hot hatch than my Golf GTI, but when you want to daily drive this, you compromise on the stiffness of the suspension, which is a little bit rigid, a little bit on the firm side. Which isn't the end of the world, I'm just comparing it to my Golf GTI. It's interesting to drive back to back with my car. This 100% has more character. Actually, I'm gonna go left here. It has more character, without a shadow of a doubt. It feels way less computerized and softened, and this weather is disgusting. It's a more enjoyable car to drive, is what I'm getting at. Even slowly, it has something that the Golf GTI doesn't. But where this is compromised on is the suspension, the fuel economy. Almost impossible to film and drive at the same time. This is so insane, this weather. I'm literally swimming now. I think one of the nice things about me jumping into an i20N straight after the i30N, which definitely feels grown up in comparison to this, bouncing around on the road with the shortest wheelbase in the entire world. I actually know nothing about this car. I couldn't tell you a single fact. Don't know what size the engine is, don't know how much brake horsepower it's got. The idea really is, other than the fact that it looks great, and I've seen a handful on the road, and in every magazine that I've read or a YouTube video that I've looked at, a lot of people talk highly of this car. It just means that I'm going into it with absolutely zero expectations and just going out there to enjoy a bit of a hoon. This road looks pretty damn good. But it is all about just getting in and drive it, because you know the size of it, it's got enough power. I look like a hooligan driving this flat out around here. Okay, when I turned up today and I told them that I wanted to drive the i20N, they said, have you driven it before? And I said no, and they said, you're gonna love it. I missed. This road is sick! This is the hot hatch version of the Alpine A110, a car that is built around power to weight ratio and feeling at one with the machine. And I'm driving this harder than I drove the i30N. What a road! I tell you what, I would not be trying to combine a daily driver and a weekend hooner and buying an i30N. I'd be buying this as the weekend hooner and then trying to figure out a daily from there. Okay, my GoPro's still on the car, that's good news. That's what I would be doing. I would not be trying to compromise and get a comfortable car that's got an automatic gearbox that I can slip into auto whenever I want. This is hilarious. Oh my god, I'm going to come back with a bigger smile on my face having driven the i20N than I did the i30N. I came back and said that the manual gearbox is better and more suited to the i30N. I believe that. When you've got a button on the steering wheel that says rev in bright red, that is cool as hell. And all it is rev auto rev matching on or off, but the emphasis on the end performance element of this car is highly enjoyable. I have not driven a car that offers a similar package to this in such a long time. So much fun and value for money to be able to plant your right foot pretty much anywhere you want to go, and with a manual gearbox, that is a lot of fun. I was actually coming into today highly anxious that I had bought the wrong car, having never driven an i30N with an auto box before, and jumping straight into the Golf GTI and seeing your reaction to it. I thought maybe I'd made a mistake, which is why coming down here with Hyundai UK, whilst they've got the entire end performance line up here, I needed to have a go in that, but I desperately needed to experience the i30N, and I'm glad that I came to the summary and the conclusion that I did, and I'll be jumping back into my Golf GTI feeling very comfortable. For me, the Golf GTI is just an easier car to daily. That is uncompromised, a much more characterful drive, but a harsher one. And with the auto gearbox, it strips a little bit of the character away. And from a daily driver with the VW Golf GTI, it ticks a lot of boxes. I will leave it there. There is a journalist turning up. I actually don't know who it is, but I've got about 5 more minutes with this car, so I'm gonna go and park it back up, grab some lunch. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. An interesting insight into the world of Hyundai, but they build fantastic performance cars. The best way I can liken that i30N is if BMW needed to make a hot hatch, it's not far off what it would be. I'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Goodbye.